Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So, dear Dharma practitioners, practicing meditation is nothing but recognizing the moment of experience by yourself. But when it comes to our life, why it became so difficult? Why we have to specially practice it? Why you have to listen to lectures, or why you have to attend to classes, or why you have to go to retreats? Because it is your life. But why it more separate and disappeared from us? The very reason, when the people start to become more and more advanced with the machines and technology and the material world, what happened? They start to invest their life towards the future. Not what the life that they having, they start to invest the life towards the future. And they compare to their past, and comparing to past, start to invest for the future. And by the time what happened, we disconnected from the moment of experience. In the ancient time, when the kings ruled the countries, mostly the kings used to take care of the people and provide the necessary facilities mainly for the moment and allow people to have a good life. So that was one of the major important part when the king ruled the country. Of course, gave the security and provide the necessary facilities to people to have the life. But when it became more advanced, and when the people start to learn the governing as a subject which we call the politics, and then the economy, or then the science, and then the technology, and what we experience today. All the governments always, more than the present moment of the situation, they invest their money towards the future. And it doesn't matter whatever in the moment, even people die because of the hunger, and they don't care, but they invest millions dollars towards the future plans. And the scientists, it doesn't matter whatever the situation happened in the moment, and mostly they focus towards the future. And just imagine any politicians come, and what they talk about, they always talk about the future, what they're going to do. So any country that we call, they have the budget, annual budget, they always talk about the next year. But the thing is this, when it comes to our spiritual practice, it is completely different. In the ancient time, even during the Buddha's time, Buddha didn't invest any kind of dharma to the future. No, whoever came in the present moment, that whatever the situation came, and according to that situation, according to that environment, according to that person, Buddha explained the Dharma. And somebody remembered that, And then later it came to books, which we call the Tripitaka. And then now we have that as record. But we have to understand when it comes to our practice and our life, even though that the whole world go towards the future plans, the question is this: if you cannot recognize the present situation or the environment or where you are, it doesn't matter personally, yourself, as a family, your life, or economically, and the wealth, asset, or as a country, as a society, as a world, if you don't recognize the present condition and the situation, how you can make a future plan? And how you know it's going to become successful? So then you have to look into yourself. We are kind of like a unlit lamp. The difference when it comes to that, we always projecting to future. The unlit lamp, if when another lamp come closer, it cannot do anything. So what is the lit lamp? When the lit lamp is there, the unlit lamp come closer. It has power to light this lamp. So recognizing yourself, understanding the very present situation is like you lighting your lamp. So if you don't light your lamp, it doesn't matter, thousand unlit lamp around you. Just imagine what will happen. So the Buddha is kind of like a lit lamp, and recognize this method and how you can tune to the present moment. Because mostly during that time, even that the transformation, liberation, or the enlightenment happen mostly beyond your death, somewhere else. And in this human form, you cannot do that. But Buddha is the one who introduced in this human form, in this very moment. It doesn't matter whatever happened in your past. It doesn't matter your name or your surname, your ethnic background, your culture, tradition, your profession, your educational system, your wealth, your social status. It doesn't matter. In this very moment, there is a possibility you can light the lamp, transform yourself, and gain this liberation. You don't need to wait for something. So in spiritually also, then mostly like the politics invest there are few plans regarding the future. The economy invest the money regarding their future. The science invent everything thinking about the future. And spiritually also, most of people invest their life, invest their practice, thinking in the future they can gain result. But when it comes to this practicing meditation, it's nothing to do with that. You don't do meditation thinking that future you're going to get something. So that is something, it's different. You have to be very carefully understand it. Every day when you sit, that's why we always remind, this is the last moment in our life. You don't wait for something. Why? Because if you think like that way, then what will happen? The best of you is not going to come out of you. So Then you have to get out of all the conditions and completely be free. And when the mind become completely be free, that is where you can experience the real wisdom of the mind. It's like the key. And we mostly, depending from the society and the outside comparison and the names and the forms and also social status, and we always depending from what other people saying about us, and we always depending from the future plans, and then but we don't have the key. But having a key is kind of like this. Just imagine, when you have the key doesn't care the hand it hold by. Key doesn't care the hand. But we are kind of like always forget about the key. We always are thinking about the condition of the hand. Who is holding it? The name and the fame, from where, what background, what's the surname, what is the profession, so that kind of, what is the color, what is the experience. So we always busy with that, but we don't have the key. So when you're having the key, when you have the awareness, mean you have the key. When you have the awareness in your mind, it doesn't matter from where you come, who you are, and what is the background, and what kind of history that you carry. It doesn't matter. So that is where you should slowly, little by little, deeper in your heart, need to find the place. Because once you get into that, you're going to recognize something which you cannot transform to words, which you cannot get into books, which you cannot transform or give it to somebody like a prayer, like a blessing. You cannot give it like that. So it is your own effort. But the thing is that as a human being, any human being has a capacity to gain that. So then you have to look yourself. And as you know, the very human life begins with the word water. All these living beings. The water, it's a billion years, trillion years old history carried by the water. And when you look at here and there, it is so powerful, strong, but still human has capability to do irrigate, transform, guide that water and send it through the turbine and bring the electricity and do it and bring it to the higher lands and do the cultivation and provide it in many ways and get the facilities out of that water. Human has that capacity, the power, abilities. So then yourself, transform your mind is kind of like to become like a water, that the ability to transform the water and transform your experience yourself, and rather than go with it, rather than tangle with it, rather than caught up in that current, develop your mind like how the human transformed this water. And as you know, the fire, even according to the normal human history, more than 2 million years ago, people found the fire. From that day to today, people did a lot of miracles. They achieved some unthinkable progress out of the fire. And it is so powerful, but still they used to maintain it. So you, in your mind, you have that capacity. So then you have to see how people used to get the water and even bring from low land to higher land, and even the fire. So dangerous, but still they able to develop and transform and bring something good out of it. And the iron, when it comes to human history, and it changed entire civilizations once people found out the iron. And according to the normal history, 1200 BC and before during that kind of time. And then after that, look how this transformation happened in this material world. This all what we experience, it all power of human mind. So then you are in a journey, you gain some progress. And if you have just a piece of clay in your hand, you can bring something out of it. And you can transform that clay to a pot or cup or plate or kind of like anything. It's a power of the mind. So then what you have to understand, when a thought come to you, when the experience come to you with your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, when the perception come to you, always remember, there are two ways. One is you can surrender to that perception. You can surrender to the outside world and go with it, go with that current. And another choice, you can be conscious about the perception and you can transform that perception to the way you want. So you can go with it. So whatever, there are people like that. So that it's a kind of like the perception can eat you or you can eat the perception. It is up to you. Perception can take you anywhere or you can transform that perception to anything. So the being conscious means, so whatever the perception come to you and whatever the form, feeling, perception, volition, and the recognition happening in you, rather than go with it, rather than surrender to it, rather than accepting it, rather than resisting it, and you take a conscious decision and say what you want out of that. So when you take that conscious decision, what happens? And you become the master. So the world going to become the students. But if you accept the perception and you go with it, you become the student, the world going to be the master. That is what called the samsara. So then always remember where we should start. You have to come to yourself and see the life that you are spending. Look in the present moment and see. Rather than investing towards the future, first start to look where you are. What happened to you? And what you experience out of this life. So according to your age, just imagine you compress that old age and you put that all your from birth to today, that all the life experience to the blend, and you blend it blender and blend it, blend it, blend it, blend it, blend it. And you make a capsule out of that entire your life experience and see what you gain out of this, what you understand it today. In case tomorrow your children ask, mommy, daddy, what is life? What you going to give them as a right answer? You cannot give the answers from the books, the lectures you heard, so kind of like that, because that is what we keep doing. Can you honestly give a real answer from your own life experience? Is there anything that you found out? So that is why you have to look into that and see. And we sometimes we think, oh, we capable to do this, that, like that way. But we are not capable to even see that whatever comes the perception to our eyes. And we have no capability to understand it is right or wrong. And whatever we hear, we think, oh, I understand, but we have no capability to understand. This is that what we hear is right or wrong. If you have that capability, any politician is not going to pass their next election. It's not going to happen. Look at that. After many, many years, you recognize that person told lies. But when that person telling it, you didn't know. You thought, oh, I'm right. I know this. I understood it. Even the many, the teachers, the theories, methods, it's everything come. In the moment we recognize, oh, this is right. And even whatever you brought and whatever you order online, when you look at it, it is, oh, this is so good. This is exactly what I want. So like that, you used to read reviews and go here and there and such. You thought, I found it. But when it reached to you and once you open the box and you recognize, maybe after a few days, you recognize, this is not what I saw. And then what we does, rather than the mistake we did, we start to go and replace and go behind the world. No, look into yourself and see what happened to your own inner experience. What happened that the experience you believed. So when it comes to Vipassana, so in mainly we have two mental cultures, Samatha mental culture and Vipassana mental culture. So the Samatha mental culture means tranquility meditation. You tranquilize, calm down, and then you settle down. You without going here and there, and another way it called undisturbed mind. So in the Vipassana, and it's deeply you observe. Thoroughly you observe. What you observe, not in the whatever, your own inner experience. That experience should be in the moment what you experience, not what you thought or not what you projecting thinking about the future. No, in the moment what you experience, you should look into it deeply, thoroughly. So today I'm going to tell you another way of understanding what is this Vipassana. Listen this very carefully and get it. And when you practice yourself, because you can experience only this by practicing Vipassana. There's no another way. So the very condition of the mind is always go with the perception. And then when it comes to eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, and whatever come to your eye, and the eye consciousness arise, whatever come to your ear consciousness arise, and whatever come to your nose consciousness arise, whatever come to your tongue consciousness arise, whatever perception come to your body consciousness arise, whatever come to your mind consciousness arise. So there is no magic. That is what we experience as life. So those are the only 6 perceptions come to us. There's nothing going to come. Don't try to go beyond that. And trying to go beyond that also kind of like a concept of the mind. Then you caught up in the same mind again. So just accept it. And be natural with that. Don't try to look beyond something. Just see what you experience. So this is the very nature of our inner consciousness, awareness. It can hold only one consciousness at one time. There is no the two consciousness. Even though we talk about multitasking, it is a out of fashion word in the world now, but still sometimes people hold it to that and try to do that way. But when it comes to deeper, the very behavior of the mind, there is no kind of like a multitasking consciousness or the awareness. When something come to appear to your eye, as that appearance we call this as a form, it brings the feeling, and that feelings bring the perception, that perception bring the volition, mental formations, and that bring the awareness related to I consciousness, I experience. Listen this, be with me. So whatever come to you here, it is the form. So it brings the feelings. Out of that feelings, perception happens. Out of that perception, volition or the mental formations arise. And out of that mental formations, the recognition arise. And the nose, the same, tongue, the same, body, the same, so to the mind, the same. So always the inner consciousness. So when something comes to your eye, it only becomes very limited to eye. And when something comes to ear, what is happening? It suddenly drops the connecting with the form related to eye and start to go towards the ear. So whatever the strong form, and it go that way. So then we observing the change. The another way to recognize the change, analyze the change is this. So when it comes, when any form appear to your eyes, and your inner consciousness start to go with it, you enjoying it. And so now you are in the vipassana level of you observing that. So what is this? Thoroughly, deeply observing and analyzing. So when it comes to analytical meditation means you're not going to be very limited only one. And so that is where you can catch the change. So you enjoying, you think, oh, I see the most beautiful thing and this is so good. So like that, now you integrate with your I consciousness, I and the form, feeling, and you enjoy. You are in the top of the world. Just be with that. And then suddenly what happens? Something come to your ear. So maybe somebody come and give you a message. Or maybe somebody call, you give a kind of like a very bad news. Maybe you fired, or maybe something happened. Maybe somebody died or something. Just imagine that is the news that you don't want to hear, but you hear it. So now what happening? That enjoyment you had, your consciousness had the connection with your form related to your eye. So then what happens when the ear consciousness arise and give you that information, your inner consciousness drop the connection with the eye consciousness and start to go towards your ear consciousness. that transition, recognizing that. So when you, now you analyzing, because you are not become very limited to one experience, and you not clinging to that one experience, you analyzing, you deeply, you thoroughly observing. So when you go towards your consciousness, what happening to that joy, what happening to that happiness, and you were in the top of the world, and it start to go and change. So it happening in the consciousness. Now you recognizing the change. So to recognize the change, the transit, the junction from your eye consciousness, how the things happen to your ear consciousness, you have to observe thoroughly. That is another way it called analytical meditation. And now you are in the sad mood. And then at the same time, you were so hungry. And then somebody brought you some food. And that is the food that you waiting in this life, the dreaming yourself to eat. And then now it is in front of you. So what is happening? Your deeper consciousness drop that, the news or the whatever the related with your ear consciousness, and then you go with the tongue consciousness. Oh, this is so good. And then what happens? See, now your whatever you enjoy with the eye, it disappear, and then whatever you had the sadness with the ear, it disappear, and now you enjoying with the tongue. So then while you eating, there is a bad smell come. Suddenly what happening? That your deeper consciousness, it's natural. Whatever strong, it go and get it. That's the nature. So you have no power of it, because your consciousness is a result of the perception. That is the reason. That's why whatever strong, it go with that. So now you eating and enjoy, oh, this food is so good, you know, and I was so waiting for this. Then suddenly bad smell come. So then what happened to your mind? Oh, then it again unpleasant moment come. Why? Because the consciousness had the connection with your tongue, and it start to go with whatever the strong perception. And then bad smell come. And then suddenly that bad smell come, and then somebody appeared in this life that you were waiting for that person to meet in your life. You are dreaming to see that person, maybe. Maybe that the person that you love in your mind, or maybe you dating, or maybe your husband or wife, your child, or anybody, that whoever you love. And then maybe you don't see you don't feel the smell anymore. And then even you forget about the corona, maybe you go and hug that person. See? And then how the transition happened. So rather than hold it to this anything, any moment of experience, you see within your eye how it happened and change, and within your ear what happened. So if you observe, this is another way it called analytical observation. Thoroughly, deeply you observe. Why? Because now you expand the capacity of your observation, rather than becoming very limited to one perception or the one experience or the one consciousness. So then you see this always is a change, it's a behavior, natural behavior happening with your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, so like that way. It is not a magic. And if you don't see it, what will happen? If you don't see this change, what will happen? Whatever you see and you enjoying it, and then you are top of the world, and then somebody come. Remember the bad news, bring the bad news. No, 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 no. Let me finish this. So like that, you are trying to clinging and go with it and resisting this. So like that way. So whatever the strong things, we hold it to it, and then we resist all other things. So if anybody come and disturb anything, come and disturb to whatever hold it, and then we go mad, become sad, worry, angry, hate. So that's kind of. So then remember, rather than clinging to its own nature, you have power to observe. So that observation, also the result of mind, but it is more deeper, higher level of experience. So it's like this. And sometimes some people can say, from where it come? Maybe it is the power of the unseen creator or somebody. No, it's like this. Just imagine when you eat the mango, when you eat an apple, blueberry, strawberry, or any food, whatever that, what fruits, whatever you eat. Is it the root? It is the branch? Is it the tree leaves? Is it the trunk? Or what it is? So then imagine, if you take out the roots, I only need the fruits. So cut down the roots. Do you think after that the tree can bring that fruits? So if you cut down the trunk, oh, I don't need, we're not going to eat this. Can that tree bring the fruits? If you cut down the branches and the tree leaves or the flowers, we don't eat flowers. We need only the fruits. So how about when the flowers come, you cut all the flowers. From after that, can you get the fruits? So your awareness is the final result of becoming a human being. That is the completion of the human being. That is why in this human life, this enlightenment is possible. So that is what who you are. So you have that gift, claim it. Don't die wasting it, because trillion, billion, billions other animals in the world, other living beings, seen, unseen living beings in this universe. We cannot bring it to numbers that much. But out of that all, you got this beautiful moment. So then develop it in you. Last but not least, when you came to this world, you cried, other everybody laughed, smile. You cried, like that. Other everybody, oh, look at this baby, look at this baby. So when you die, remember, transform yourself. When you die, do something reminding your death, at least somebody to cry. And yourself in your death moment to smile yourself. So there is a possibility yourself, and transform yourself. That transformation comes not by praying, not by dreaming, not by projecting, not by thinking, not by chanting, not by asking, not by claiming, not by fighting. That transition happens only by observing and recognizing not the outside, but your inner own experience. So be aligned with that. So with that, I bless upon everyone with this good practice. May all of you be well, happy and peaceful. May no harm come to you. May no difficulties come to you. May no problems come to you. May you also have the patience, courage, understanding, and determination to meet and overcome inevitable difficulties in your life. During this time period, may everyone stay healthy and safe. And finally, may all of you attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sabbhityo vajjantu sabrogo vinasatu mate bhavatantarayo sukhi dika yuko bhava. Ettavata chammi sampadam punya sampadam sabbe deva namodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe bhuta numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe satta numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Idam me punya kammang asavakkaya vahang hotu. Sabba dukkha pamuncatu. Bless.